Washington Post, the editorial board. Aleppo represents a meltdown of the West's moral and political will, and in particular a collapse of U.S. leadership. By refusing to intervene against Assad's regime's atrocities or even to enforce the red line, President Obama, declared on the use of chemical weapons. President Obama created a vacuum that was filled by Vladimir Putin and Iran's Revolutionary Guard. As recently as October, Mr. Obama set aside options drawn up by his advisors to save Aleppo. Instead, he supported the delusional diplomacy of Secretary of State John F. Kerry, whose endless appeals to Moscow for ceasefires yielded, as Mr. Putin no doubt intended, nothing more than a humiliating display of American weakness. This is the vacuum in which a President Trump steps into on Syria.
Yes, it may sound funny, but I could not agree more with the editorialists at the Washington Post on this. This is a brilliant and tragic description of President Obama's utter and John Kerry's utter lack of leadership. Leadership so bad that they've made the situation worse. My concern is, and Laura raised this, and it's well known, does the American public have the stomach, have the appetite for the introduction of military force into Syria, which would inevitably lead to ground troops? Do we want to go through all that again? But this is a terrible, terrible tragedy that's going to be put on Donald Trump's desk at noon on January 20th. I don't know which way he's going to go, but the last time he spoke about this, he did not see an appetite amongst the American people for ground troops.
That, I think, is a wrong alternative. People talk about there are only two alternatives: the passivity of Obama, which ended today with Aleppo, or invasion. When the red line was crossed, we were in a position, the French were going to help us, of purely an attack from the air or by cruise missiles to wipe out the Assad Air Force and to disable the airfields. That is not invasion. That would have meant you can't drop the barrel bombs. And secondly, when the Russians started to maneuver, we didn't have to invade. The job of a superpower is to deter the other superpower. There was no penalty the Russians had to pay at any stage in tipping the balance in the war. And that was a role that we could have played short of anything like a ground invasion. And to put it up as the only alternative, I think, is to back up the Obama decision of doing nothing, and we see the result now.